UFC 314, Volkanovski versus Lopez. Way too early. Full card prediction. We're going to go through every fight, 12 fights, banger main event, banger co-main, Yair Patricio, Jeff Neal, Carlos Prates. Dude, I can't wait for UFC Miami 314, Lopez Volkanovski for the vacant featherweight. I can't freaking wait. Let's get it started with a 145-pound fight. Again, another banger. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. I'm going to go Sean Woodson to win this one. He is taller. He is lengthier by a mile. 7-inch reach advantage. And what is that? A 7-inch height advantage as well. He's going to be a little bit younger than Dan Ige, but not enough to really make an impact. He's a better striker than Dan Ige overall, but it only takes one. It only takes one. If Dan Ige is able to get inside of that range and crack the chin of Sean Woodson, it's all over. It is all over at that point. The grappling and the wrestling, of course, Dan Ige is better, but Sean Woodson has decent takedown defense. He's good in the clinch, trying to get the overhooks and work elbows and work punches to the side of the head because, again, he is just so tall. I am going to go Sean Woodson, 29-28 decision here. Very fun fight at 145 pounds. I think it's going to be mainly a striking and clinching fight, but more of a striking fight. I'm going to go Sean Woodson by decision. Cedric Dumas taking on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I'm going to go Dumas. Do I want to go finish? I know Shara Magomedov wasn't able to finish him. I know Kevin Holland was able to submit him. Michel Pereira able to submit him. Caio Borralho. I don't know about Dumas's necessarily submission skills. I know his wrestling and control on top is very good, but I don't see a lot of submissions from him aside from the Matej Pinaz guillotine choke. Other than that, again, not a lot of submissions, so I'm going to have to go for another Dumas decision. Decision, Brundage, Abu, and Dennis. He's 3-2 in the UFC. I think he goes out there, plays it smart, plays it cool, and out-wrestles and out-grapples Mikhail Oleksiejczuk in this fight. To win. I think the striking, he's going to try to keep it as even as he possibly can with Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, and when he does feel like he's losing in the striking, I feel like he's just going to mix in the takedowns. I have to go Dumas to win this fight by unanimous decision with that wrestling and grappling. I believe Dumas is an underdog right now as a Tapology, and Woodson is an underdog as of Tapology, because there's no betting odds just yet, but I got two dogs in a row to start out UFC 314. Next fight, Julian Arosa, Darren Elkins. I'm going to go Julian Arosa. Again, I can say all I want. He's younger, but they're both old, 35 and 40 years old. Julian is taller. He is lengthier. He is a better striker. He's a better jiu-jitsu guy. Darren is a better cardio machine, a better wrestler. It's going to come down to, can Julian keep this fight where he wants to on the feet in the striking and just outstrike Darren Elkins, and when the fight does go to the ground, mitigate ground and pound damage that he has taken from Darren Elkins, and try to throw up some submissions and possibly land one on Darren Elkins here. I think the game plan has to be striking, though. He doesn't want anything to do with going for submissions on the ground because it's hard to submit a guy like Darren Elkins there. But I am going to go Julian Arosa, not to submit him, not to knock him out, but to get a decision. Again, to finish Darren Elkins, you gotta chin him. You gotta chin him like Cub Swanson was able to do. Ricardo Lamas was able to rock him and hurt him. But that's about it. Chad Mendes, that's 3 in his entire career, I think. That's a hard man to finish right there. There's a few more early on in his MMA career, but it's a hard man to knock out. Julian's not a knockout guy, and even a harder guy to submit. Again, Darren Elkins, I think, has been submitted once. When was that? A very freaking long time ago. Probably, this armbar, Charles Oliveira, back in 2010, 15 years ago. So no, I got this fight going all the way. Julian Arosa by a very close 29-28 decision. First finish of the card, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go Sumudaerji to finally come back and get a win. The dude's been submitted by Tim Elliott, submitted by Matt Schnell, and then lost to Charles Johnson in a really close fight. I think he needs to get back to his ways of rocking and hurting people on the feet, and I think this is going to be it, because Mitch is going to come in with that not as good of wrestling and grappling as those guys come in, and I think it's going to get rocked by Sumudaerji coming in. And I know Mitch Raposo's never been knocked out as a professional MMA fighter, but Sue is so much taller and lengthier. I think he's going to counter him in to a big shot here and knock him out in round 2. Alberto Montes and Roberto Romero in the UFC featherweight division. We got Venezuela versus Mexico. I am going to go Montes by submission in round 2. I think this is going to be an absolute dogfight, absolute war. Roberto is going to get a knockdown on Montes. Montes is going to catch the neck of Romero. Romero is going to get out and ground and pound, and he's going to get a little bit tired. They're going to get sweaty and slippery and bloody. And in round 2, Roberto is going to rock Montes again. Montes is going to rock Romero, and he's going to snatch the neck up again and hit him with a darce. Alberto Montes, round 2. Submission. Chase Hooper, Jim Miller, got to go into a decision, unfortunately. Jim Miller, if we look at his losses, King Green wasn't able to finish him with the striking. So obviously Chase Hooper is not going to go out there and finish him with the striking. Hernandez, decision. Joselecki, decision. Pichel, Holtzman, decision. Only finishes are Charles Oliveira and Dan freaking Hooker. 2 top 5 UFC lightweights. Former ranked welterweight Michael Chiesa. Former ranked and title contender Donald Cerrone. Nate Diaz, a former top 5, I think. Maybe a title challenger as well, if I'm forgetting that one. Benson Henderson, former champion. I mean, it's a hard freaking thing to do, to go out there and finish Jim Miller. Especially submit him. Again, Charles Oliveira is one of the only guys to be able to do so. I do not think this fight is going to be a submission. I think it goes all the way. Chase Hooper just controls it. 30-27's it. It's going to be a changing of the guard between the new and the old. I got Chase Hooper by unanimous decision. And we move on to the next one in the women's strawweight. The number 1 versus number 2 or 3 in Verna Jandiroba here. It's tough. They're both old, 37, 35. Height going, Jan. Reach going, Verna. I'm going to go Verna. I think she's going to get the takedown here. Carla Esparza was able to a few years ago. Marina Rodriguez beat her. Weili Zhang was able to land takedowns on her. If Weili's able to, I know Weili's an absolute dog, but I think Verna should be able to get this fight to the ground, control Yan Xiaonan, and maybe rear naked her. If there's going to be a finish, going to be a rear naked. Again, Carla's able to take her down. Weili's able to take her down. Yeah, I think she's able to get the takedowns. Majority decision with Mackenzie Dern doesn't look too good in hindsight, in my opinion. Yeah, I got to go with Verna Jandiroba. 29-28, very close decision. Then Verna versus Weili's after that. If Weili wins that one, she'll clear out the women's strawweight division and cement herself as the best strawweight of all time. And then she can move up. But Verna, I got to win in that fight. Jeff Neal, Carlos Prates. Oh, it's a tough one because I'm going to go Prates to win, but do I want to say knockout? Do I want to say decision? Ooh, it's a tough one. Jeff Neal, 34 years old, has been knocked out once by Kevin Holland a long time ago. And I'm talking 2017. 8 to 9 years ago is when that happened. Do I want to say knockout? Do I want to say he's huge? He's massive. He's like, I think I saw his last fight, whichever one was in California. Rafael Dos Anjos, Topuria versus Holloway. I think it was that one. Or it was the Volkanovski versus Topuria. I think it was the Volkanovski versus Ian Gary. He was 200 pounds on fight night. 200 pounds. This dude is a just ball of meat. How are you going to knock this man? I got to go decision. I'm sorry. Carlos Prates, I think, is going to stay on the outside. Just laying some bombs on Jeff, and Jeff's just going to eat it. I think Jeff will find a way in eventually on Carlos and land a good shot, put some adversity on Carlos, and I'm going to go 29-28 for Carlos Prates to get his first decision win in the UFC. Dude, again, Jeff Neal, this is the one guy in the welterweight division is probably the hardest to knock out of anybody. Like, I can look at everybody in the top 15. Like Vicente Luque, Prates knocks out. Shavkat Rakhmonov, he can probably knock out Shavkat before he's going to knock out Jeff Neal. Ian Gary, again, probably knocks him out. And then Rafael Dos Anjos. So I got this one going all the way. Hoping for a knockout so we can just keep on building Carlos as a star. But I'm going to go decision there. Yair versus Patricio Pitbull. Very young is Yair Rodriguez. Still in his prime. Of course, taller and lengthier. Patricio is very small for the featherweight division. Just fought in the bantamweight division not long ago against Sergio Pettis. Got knocked out by Chihiro Suzuki not long ago as well. Beat Jeremy Kennedy. Beat Adam Borich. Borix, I think that's how you say it, and then Kleber Koike Erbst. I do think this is going to be a striking fight. Patricio's not going to be able to get the takedowns consistently on Yair. He's going to be trying to close that distance, get inside, and knock out Yair. Yair's not going to let that happen. He's going to kick him at range. He's going to jab him at range, land some big shots, use his height, use his reach. I don't know what people are thinking going Pitbull. I'm going to go domination 30-27 from Yair Rodriguez. Staying on the outside, just outstriking and putting on a masterclass against Patricio Pitbull. Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Where has Nikita been? I don't know. 3 wins in a row. Gustafsson knockout, Volkanovski unanimously, and then finished Ryan Spann. Lost to Paul Craig in a fluke, and lost to Magomed Ankalaev. I do believe, similar height, similar reach, Dominic is obviously the better striker. The better wrestler is Nikita. I'm going to go decision. I don't think Nikita's been knocked out before. If so, it's been very early on in his career. He's been knocked out once, and it was early on in his career, 2013, 11 years ago, my fault. I'm going to go Nikita Krylov, very, very close decision. I think Dominic will, in this fight, win a round with the striking. The other two, I think he's going to wrestle and grapple and keep the striking really, really even. Unfortunately, I want Dominic Reyes to win. I want to see another resurgence from Dominic Reyes here, but I have to go Krylov decision here in the light heavyweight division. Michael Chandler and Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. I'm going to go Paddy the Baddy. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this man's going to be the underdog in this fight. I'm going Paddy the Baddy Pimblett to go out there and win this fight. And I'm going round 4 submission. Rear naked choke. I think it's going to be very similar to that Dustin Poirier loss by rear naked choke, where, Chandler's going to go out there. He's going to rock Paddy. He's going to win round 1, because Paddy's chin's up in the air. Round 2, Chandler's going to be winning the striking a little bit. Paddy's going to get the back, get the ground, control Michael Chandler. Michael's going to be like, okay, we still got more rounds. It's going to be 1-1 going into round number 3. Round number 3 comes. Chandler's looking to go out there and finish him. Paddy's on the back foot. Chandler throws a big right hand. Paddy ducks under it, gets the body lock, gets him in the cage, gets his back, gets a hook in, pulls him down, ground and pounds him, gets full mount, ground and pounds him a little bit, wins round 3, barely Michael Chandler survives and makes it a round number 4. Then in round number 4, again, Chandler's going for broke. He's got to win this round or he loses the fight. He's got to knock out Paddy or he loses the fight. And Paddy knows it. So he does the same thing. He waits for him to come in. He catches the single leg, gets under the cage, picks him up, and slams Michael Chandler. Chandler gets right back up, but Paddy gets his back again. And Paddy this time, round number 4. Chandler's focused on getting back up again, and he doesn't attack the hands, and he's just worried about getting up. Chin goes high. Paddy gets the arm under the chin. He gets the hand behind the head, and he squeezes. Michael Chandler's about to tap. He's about to tap, and he goes to sleep, standing rear naked. I think Paddy's going to have the back, have the body lock, body triangle, going to get the rear naked. He's going to be about to do his slam. He's about to do it. He's about to start fighting the hands, and he falls asleep. And I think Paddy Pimblett submits Chandler in round number 4 and calls out Connor McNuggets. Calls out Charles Du Bronx. And ladies and gentlemen, Paddy Pimblett's a new star. He's a big star. Coming off a win over King Green, a decision over Ferguson, a decision over Gordon, and now finishes Michael Chandler, who is supposed to fight against Conor McGregor. And Charles couldn't submit him. But Paddy Pimblett could. Paddy round 4 rear naked choke. Main event, we got Diego Lopes, Alexander Volkanovski. Age, obviously going Diego. He is taller. He is lengthier. He is younger. He is bigger. He is more powerful on the feet. But we got to remember, who's a 5-round fighter? This is a 5-round vacant title fight. Diego has not been 5 rounds. In fact, when he went 3 rounds with Mr. Danny Ige 7 months ago, he gassed out. He could not sustain himself in round number 3. And Volkanovski, will lose round 1 and know, well, this dude's coming out a little strong in round 1. And Volkanovski's just going to keep striking him because this is not going to be a grappling match. Diego's not going to take down and dominate Volkanovski on the ground. We've seen Volkanovski's takedown defense. Well, Diego's going to rock him in round 1. We're going to be like, Volkanovski's chin is gone. Volkanovski survives round 1. Round 2 is a lot closer, but Diego also wins that one. And then Volkanovski starts looking prime again. And Diego starts to slow down. He's like, oh, God. Well, Volkanovski's looking really, really good now. He starts to find his rhythm. Starts to find his range. He starts to chew up the legs of Diego Lopes as he's coming in for boxing shots. He starts to stay out of the way from the big shots of Diego more and more and more as these rounds go on, and starts to counter him and keeps leg kicking him, and it keeps wearing on Diego Lopes. He easily wins round 3. Round 4 comes, and Diego knows. He's got to win a round. He has to win round 4. He's got to win round 5. So he's coming forward. He's getting countered more by Volkanovski. His legs starting to get even more chewed up, and he loses round 4. And round 5 comes, and Diego's like, well, now I legitimately need to win round 5. 2-2, entering the championship rounds, and Diego does what Diego's probably going to do. But he's going to be gassed out at this point. He's going to come forward, and I think he is going to land some good shots on Volkanovski. Then Volkanovski is going to chop the legs of Diego and drop him with the leg kick. Diego's going to keep coming forward for half of round 2, or half of round 5, until Volkanovski and his superior cardio takes over in round number 5, and he comes forward, and he starts ripping to the body. He starts landing those big leg kicks again, hurting Diego bad. Body shot, uppercut, and then Volkanovski, out of nowhere, 2 minutes left in round 5, gets a takedown on Lopez, ground and pounds him a little bit. Lopez gets right back up. Volkanovski landing good boxing combinations. Lopez's punches are big, but they're not powerful because he's gassed out. And Volkanovski keeps landing and moving, using good head movement, still staying inside, and gets one more takedown with 45 seconds left. Ground and pounds him a little bit. Lopez gets up. He punts to the ground. He tries to do the Max Holloway, and Volkanovski doesn't oblige. He does not oblige. They stay at range. Volkanovski stays. Lopez is pointing to the floor. And they jab and they leg kick for the last 20 seconds of the fight, and Volkanovski wins round 5 because he lands the takedowns, he lands good ground and pound, drops them with a leg kick, and gets some good body shots in. And Diego Lopez does not become the UFC featherweight champion. He got Volkanovski beat Diego Lopez. He do Volkanovski, Movsar Evloev after it. Oh my, oh my. My, oh my. Do we have a fight here? It's going to be fight of the night. 5 rounds of utter war, utter chaos, utter amazingness, and maybe Patty versus Chandler is going to be fight of the night, because I'm predicting a round 4 submission, but we shall see. Thank you guys for watching. Those are my UFC 314 Volkanovski versus Lopez full card prediction. Like and subscribe, or I will send John Jones to your house, because if John Jones enters a room, if John Jones enters a room with just one other person, only John Jones goes outside of that room. And if I send John Jones to your room, you will be violated, and you will not walk out of that room. Ladies and gentlemen, like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.